right, so welcome to episode 3 of 4 of the Design Your Dream Career series. We started last week Thursday and Friday. Today is episode 3. Tomorrow is episode 4, and actually the episode 4, which I termed the last of this season. I'm planning to have it as a Zoom chat. So if you haven't registered, go ahead and register after this live session. Because I just want it to be a little more interactive. Most times here, it's just me, you're saying, I want to see your faces. I want to have some intimate chats with folks that might not be able to come on Instagram Live. So make sure you register, invite a friend, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we wrap up this first session of the series. I'm sure there'll be many more to come. So if you missed the previous sessions, you can find them on my Instagram page. The post there. I had the episode 1 and 2 last week. And basically, I was sharing my journey as an immigrant career professional in the United States. So I migrated to the US 2005. And this series is just basically to share my journey, to inspire and motivate other immigrant professionals out there. We're all at different stages of our career, and we can always learn from each other. And more so for those who are still struggling to find their foot in the door of design their dream career, this is for you, to let you know that it is a journey and everybody has their own unique journey. And I hope that by sharing my stories, you can see that sometimes all that glitters is not gold. I'm in a position today which I'm very excited and happy about, something I dreamed of, but it all didn't start in one day. I had to go through some hoops and go through some challenges, but the key thing was staying positive and staying motivated. Hi, Auntie Tony, welcome. Yes, so today, so like I said, the previous episodes are on my page, so you can go back and reference them. My name is Dr. Bumia Kikube. I'm a physician in public health practice. I obtained my medical degree from Nigeria before I migrated to the US. And my thought at that time was coming over, it will be an easy, smooth transition to just sail into the system and start earning the money. And, you know, you're thinking of the conversions. $1,000 is so much Naira and everything. But it didn't go as smooth sailing as I planned, but eventually everything worked out together for good. And my goal is to inspire and encourage you, whatever stage of the journey you're in, to keep pressing on, to stay focused, to achieve your goals. So I started off with practicing medicine in Nigeria. I moved to the US. I got into all sorts. You can see those in my previous videos. I worked as a sales associate in 2 different fashion stores. I ended up working as a gas station attendant, and today I'm sharing the part of my journey where I got to work as a medical assistant. So I actually worked as a medical assistant in 3 different clinical specialties before getting out of that field. And the interesting thing was, getting into the medical assistant field was actually like a miracle for me, because like I shared in my previous post, I believed I had the qualifications and I had the degrees to be able to practice in the clinical field in some way, but somehow I just couldn't get in because I didn't have any of the certifications. And for my medical residency, I had to sit and study for exams, which spanned over a large period of time, a long period of time. So it wasn't something that was going to happen overnight. So when I migrated to the US and then I moved from Boston to Seattle, in communicating with one of my friends who was also a colleague in medical school, she then brought it up that, oh, Bumi, do you know that you could get certified as a medical assistant without having to go back to school or doing anything? I was like, what? Like, where was this information all this while? Like, this is almost like 4 years later, where I'd been staying at home for the most part, doing odd jobs, and then you come around and tell me that if only I knew better, I could have been certified as a medical assistant and been working at least a better paid job in something related to my specialty. Thank you, Bokumi. Yes, information is key, and that is basically what like these sessions are all about to and thrive in the US. So I didn't have that information, and she was like, yeah, just send them your credentials and they'll just look through and they'll approve it and you'll be good to go. So lo and behold, I sent in my transcript and my certificate, my medical school certificate, and I sent it in, and in a matter of 2 weeks, they sent me an approved certification. I got a pin, I got a sticker that said I was approved as a medical assistant. I was like, oh my God, where has this been all this while? So with that, I was able to leave the menial jobs like sales job, and I finally left the gas station working as a gas attendant, and so I got into the medical assistant field. But even getting into the medical assistant field wasn't a joke, because I went online and then I started applying everywhere. But of course, I didn't have the US experience as a medical assistant, so many people were reluctant to hire me anyway. So I was on all the websites looking for the job. Every time, either I won't hear a response, or they'll say, sorry, we can't hire you right now. So eventually I found my first medical assistant job. Guess where? On Craigslist. I don't know if many of you have heard of Craigslist before, but Craigslist is just, like a community web page where people put a lot of information. If you've heard of Craigslist, just put it in the comments, yes or no. And, they put all sorts there, people that want to maybe sell their old property or equipment, or people just looking for quick jobs. They had it there. So there was this oncology practice in Seattle that just opened up. It was a new practice, and the physicians there were looking for people to hire on right away without too much technological aspect of ever looking for, like, going through the long hiring process. They were like, well, if we find you and you're qualified for the job, we're just going to take you. So I found this job advertisement on Craigslist and I applied, and 2 days later, the oncologist called me and it was like, are you available for interview? I was like, yep. Went to the office and he met me. So he was a Chinese physician, and when he saw my resume that I was a physician, he was like, why are you applying for a medical assistant job? But at the same time, he was like, yes, I totally understand. I've been through that before too. But he was like, I hope you're still keeping your goals ahead of you. I don't mind hiring you if you don't mind working for me, because I know this is way below your qualification. But if you're ready to work hard and add this to your resume as a work experience, then I'm ready to hire you. So that's how I got hired by this oncologist, and I started working as a medical assistant in the oncology practice, which was also a very interesting experience, thinking of specialties in medicine and seeing how the clinical care goes on in the US, from what happens in hospital settings, how it transitions to the clinic settings, how patients are followed up on, how so many medical providers provide complete primary care to the physician, to the patients. It's not just the physician alone, the nurses, the medical assistant, whether it's the clinical medical assistant or the medical assistant working at the front desk, the lab technician in the office, the social worker. I got to learn about the broad range of specialties that is involved in patient care, and that was my first medical assistant experience. That was in Seattle. Eventually, while I was doing that job, and also as a result of the gas station networking with the social community in Seattle, I met someone who was a nurse but was actually studying for his master's in public health. So he told me about this program at the University of Washington, Seattle. Go UW. And he explained it to me because he also had a 9-to-5 job, but he was doing this master's in public health program. So it was called the Executive MPH program, where most of the classes were online, but for 6 weeks in the summer, we'll go on campus and have live lessons and some other live sessions here and there. But he was able to combine it with his 9-to-5 job. So while I was working as a medical assistant, still studying for my exams, applying for medical residency programs, I decided to explore this opportunity to be able to do my master's in public health on the side. Quick background, I always had a love for public health in mind, because when I finished med school and I got to work in Youth Service Corps, which is kind of like the Peace Corps in Nigeria, I saw firsthand what effect public health had on clinical practice. Like if people had knowledge and skills about how to prevent getting sick in the first place, it reduces the burden on the doctor in the clinic seeing thousands of patients in a week. So public health was already in my radar. So when I heard of this opportunity, I was like, yes, I'm going to go for it. Definitely HR Springboard networking is key. And Bukumi says I'm a superwoman. Yeah, we're all superwomen. You'll be amazed at what you can do when you're focused and you're determined to achieve your goals. So I went ahead and I applied for this executive MPH program and I got into the program. So while I was working, I was able to continue my study as for the master's in public health. So eventually, I told you we were a military family, so every couple of years we had to relocate to another place again. So eventually we had to relocate from Seattle to Atlanta, Georgia. So it was time for another move again, time to start all over again, making friends, finding a network, trying to find another job to do. So moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and I was still finishing up my master's in public health program. But because most of it was online, I was able to continue that program. And then I made a couple of trips back to Seattle to be able to complete the full program. So moving to Atlanta, of course, the cycle starts all over again, getting kids settled in school. By this time, I had 2 kids. Remember when I moved to Seattle, I had just 1 kid. Now I had 2 kids. One was, maybe 5. The other was 2. So getting them in daycare, getting them in preschool, and getting them settled while my husband just hopped on to his work. The next work day, like, okay, back to work. So I was out of job again for a little while, but because I already had the medical assistant experience, I was able to use that to apply for a job again. So this time around, I got to work with an endocrinologist that did everything, diabetes and thyroid, everything endocrinology. So with that, I was also able to gain perspective of another specialty in medicine using the skills and knowledge I had acquired. So that was another interesting experience. While I was doing that, I finished my master's in public health program. Yay! And I graduated. I went back to Seattle for my graduation. And so now it's like, okay, now I have a master's degree in the US. What am I going to do with it? But, because we moved to Atlanta, Georgia, I was like, what perfect timing. Public health and the top organization for public health right here in Atlanta, the CDC. So I'm like, anything I can do to get into CDC, I'm going to do it. I have my MPH in hand. I have my medical degree. What more could they be looking for? So I started looking into getting into the CDC to work there. And I'm going to talk about that in my final session, which is the 4th episode coming tomorrow. So make sure you're registered on Zoom so you can hear the sweetest part of this story so far. So, well, I continued working as a medical assistant with the endocrinologist. Then I think at some point, I eventually got into a fellowship opportunity at CDC, which was very short term. So I did it for a short term. I'll talk about the details in the 4th episode. So it lasted just 6 months and then it was all over. So I was back to, okay, I don't have a job. What do I do? So I tried to go back to the endocrinologist, like, please, will you hire me back as the medical assistant? And it was like, well, you left. I don't want to be dealing with people coming and going. I need medical assistants that will stay there and become familiar with my patients, become familiar with my practice, and be a valuable employee to me, which, of course, I didn't blame him. If I was a physician and I had a practice, I definitely would want staff who are dedicated, but also have a long-term prospect of working with me so that I don't have to keep hiring every 6 months or every year. So I let that be, and then I started looking for work again with my MPH and medical assistant. So I got another medical assistant job, which this time around it was with a rheumatologist. But this guy, oh my God, when they talk about type A personality and all those hyper people, that's what it was like. He was just like always on the go, and everybody had to be on their toes and running around. And if you know me personally, I'm a generally calm person. Not that I'm slow or I don't make decisions quickly, but you won't see me like running and dancing and everything. But that was just what this guy wanted. So I did my best to step it up and get with the flow and everything. So constantly running throughout the shift to attend to patients and everything. But there was this one day he just had a bad day, and he just felt, oh, you're not moving fast enough. And he just called me into his office. He was like, you know, I really like you. I appreciate everything you've done. But actually, I'm going to have to let you go because you're not moving fast enough for me. I'm like, what do you mean by I'm not moving fast enough? I'm putting patients in as quickly as you can. I'm writing the orders. I'm making the phone calls and everything. He was just like, So I don't know if they were going through some challenges in that practice and they just had to let people go. And since I was the newest person on the block, he was like, okay. So, yeah. Charles Springboard is like, type A personality expect quick fixes. Yes, they do. Oh, thanks, Boki, for the comments. So, yes. So I was like, well, God, you know best. I don't want to like flip myself completely backwards to please this guy. And it seems like he was bent on letting me go anyway. So I was like, okay, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. And I just packed my few things I had and I left. So for the first time in my life, I got fired, and that experience was not funny. You know, I got to my car, I sat there, I cried for a little bit. And you know, the part that made it worse, just a few weeks before that, my husband actually left his job in the army. So he too was out of work. So I was the only one working. So for this to happen, it was like, oh my God, how are we going to survive? What's going on here? And everybody's like, oh, she's a doctor. You know, everybody sees you on the outside. She's a doctor. Oh, he's a captain in the army. Oh, they shouldn't have any problems and everything. But here we were, both of us jobless for a period of about 2 months or something, where we just had to scrap all our savings and survive with 2 kids and a third one on the way. So, but you know, we kept holding on in faith. Thank you, Charles Spring. But when one door closes, another mega door opens. Yes, definitely. So it was in the process of getting fired and staying at home that I continued looking for opportunities to be able to use my medical qualification and my master's in public health to be able to find another job opportunity. And finally, that job opportunity did open up. And like I said, I'll be sharing that in my 4th episode. And it was basically getting into a public health career at the CDC. So this kind of ends the medical assistant part of my journey. If you have any comments, you could put it in the comment section, like I said. But you know, all through these steps, I kept learning valuable lessons along the way, building up my courage, building up my confidence, building up so many skills that were critical in the career field, you know, building up negotiation skills, building up communication skills, building up interactions, working with others, and learning even leadership styles. Like I got to learn various leadership styles, how type A personalities are, how type B are, where I fit in, what I want in a future supervisor or boss in the future, and what I will want, how I will relate with my subordinates if I and when I did become a supervisor in the future. So sometimes we go through so many stages and experiences in life, and we might not be able to categorically define it at that point in time, like explain everything that is going on, but just know that everything is for a purpose. And as long as you keep your eyes focused on your goals, you'll be able to achieve your goals and your dream in life. McCain, you sent a request to be in my video. I'm not sure if that was for real or or it was just a mistap of the button. If it is, you can just type in the comments and let me know if you want to come on and why you want to come on. So thanks for hanging out with me again today. Usually I make this short and brief. I've been sharing my career journey, which I call my Thrive Journey in the US, which is in line with my platform Thrive in the US, which inspires and motivates immigrant career professionals to move from survival to thriving, to ditch the setbacks, to set aside the excuses, and pull up your boots, strap up your boots, and be ready to live that life that you've always dreamed for. There was a reason and some expectations you had when you were migrating to the US. Don't let those dreams and expectations, don't let them die. Don't keep them in the back burner forever. Step up and let's do this. And I'm here to help you along the way. I'm Dr. Bumia Kikube. I'm a physician in public health practice, also a career and lifestyle consultant for immigrant career professionals, especially immigrant women, trying to make sure you rise and you shine and you thrive. Thank you so very much for coming on board today. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Thank you, HR Springboard. I'm inspired. You're pulling up your boots. Yes, let's do this. Let's do this. And episode 4 is coming up tomorrow. It's coming up on Zoom. Make sure you tap the link in the bio to register. And yes, you're very welcome. Yes, Peju, let's do more. Let's do more. Let's do more. Let's do more. Bukalami. What were the steps you took to navigate those difficult times? Yeah, so I just kept hope alive, you know. As long as you never give up, there's always hope. So there are times when you'll face disappointments and setbacks. There's no harm in crying for a little bit, but you don't want to go into depression. Reach out and let somebody help you. Go back to the drawing board and see what you've done wrong, what you can improve, how you can make it better. That's how it works. I'm a Christian. I depend on God. I trust Him and I trust His promises. His promises always says that His thoughts towards God are good and not evil, to bring us a future and a hope, to bring us to an expected end. So that's one thing that always helps me as well. I hold on to my faith, but along with my faith, I put in the work. And that's one other thing I'll be discussing tomorrow. You know, if I didn't take up that opportunity to jump into the MPH program, the Masters in Public Health program, when I moved to Georgia and I had the opportunity to be in the world's best public health organization in the world, I might not have been able to find a position easily if I didn't have that. So there's time for everything, and we have to be strategic in what we do. And get help. You know, sometimes we can't do it on our own. You might need a coach, you might need a consultant, you might need a mentor, you might need an expert in a particular field. Don't be afraid to invest in those things, because those investments will come around to benefit you even as you go in your career journey. So thank you so much. So many people can't wait to listen tomorrow. Yes, I can't wait to see you as well. And thank you. HR Springboard says, one thing caught my attention during your waiting time, you were improving on your skills. Yes, definitely. So you can't just stay there and say, oh, I was a professor back home in my migrant country. I'm going to wait until someone discovers me. Nope. You got to keep going, keep brushing up on your skills, keep using what you have to make things better. Hi, Riding Dark, welcome. You came at the end, but it'll be available on my page right after this. Instagram has a new thing where they don't upload it in stories anymore. So it's good. It's right there on the page and you can always find it. Thank you so much for coming on board today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Register on Zoom, invite a friend, and have a lovely, lovely evening. Remember, don't just survive, thrive. Love you. Have a good evening. Bye.